Hello and welcome to Fresno, California for the 2015 Mountain West Women's Basketball Preview Show featuring the Fresno State Bulldogs. I'm Stephen Trembley alongside Fresno State head coach Jaime White and senior guard Alex Furr. Coach White, Fresno State has established itself as a perennial postseason contender, making it to the postseason 8 straight years. How do you draw on that sustained success and continuing to strengthen your program?
Well, obviously the tradition of being in the postseason and the expectation of being in the postseason elevates our play a little bit, and especially towards the end of the season. I think the challenge is to get everybody excited right now in preseason when there are no games. So we look at our second round of the NIT and our win against San Francisco as an advance. And that's the goal really at this point. We've been to the postseason. Now we need to advance in the postseason. So that's definitely the goal. The goals are always set higher for the following year, and that's what we're talking about.
Alex, as a senior, you're in your 6th year overall in the program. Overcoming injury, tackling that adversity head on. Talk about your journey to this point in your career.
Well, I came in as a freshman and I played behind the school's leading scorer, so I was excited my sophomore year to step up into a bigger playing role. But 8 games into the season, I tore my ACL and MCL meniscus against Stanford, so I was out for the rest of the season. So I rehabbed really hard, and my first day back at practice, I re-tore the same knee. And so it was another year out, and but I've been healthy ever since. So what seemed like it was my biggest nightmare was really my biggest blessing, because it gave me the opportunity to play for Coach White and a new staff and play with a whole new group of girls. And I'm also earning my master's degree in the process, so it's good.
Coach, you have a lot of talent when looking at your roster. You obviously had to fill the void vacated by the graduation of Co-Mountain West Player of the Year in Alex Sheedy. What do you like about how your team has come together?
Well, we have 7 new kids, 3 of those which are transfers and 4 that are true freshmen. I think we have a mixture of everything that we could ask for, and that's in those 7. Although those 7 probably won't make up for Alex Sheedy. We will look to our senior leadership in Alex, in Tony, in not that Bago's a senior, but we'll also be looking at Bago and Tony to fill that forward post position that Alex had. And so it's really going to be, I think, I feel like our team is maybe more of a team. Everybody has their part this year, and then we'll be looking for some of those, whether it be transfers or our incoming kids. You always want 1 or 2 of those kids to kind of set themselves apart from the others. So we hope for that as we move forward.
Now, Bago had a strong showing at the World University Games as one of only 3 players to average a double-double. What stands out to you about her development during the offseason?
Well, anytime you can play at that level and also kind of challenge yourself in playing with a different team, I think is really good and valuable for Bago. Bago asked me, Coach, should I go? I'm worried about maybe injury or what's best for my team, and she had to miss some of the summer season with us. And I said, Bago, anytime you play is good, and what we need for you is to have more experience. And so her having that experience, I think, is going to help us. I've seen it in our individuals. She has a little more of a court savvy. She is a long, agile post player, and we've seen her scoring a little bit more, rebounding a little bit more, and obviously running the floor like she does for us.
Now, Alex, in talking about those post players, your teammates, Tony, Bago, and the post presence inside, as a guard, what does that do to your game and how you feed them in the post?
Well, I love playing with Tony and Bago, and it's good. It allows me to play harder on defense when Bago's down there and she's long and she can, get a block if I get beat on defense. And Tony, she's very strong, and so you feel comfortable throwing in the ball to her, and she can make some good moves. And I think Tony's good because she can also do a long jump shot from the top the free throw line. I know she's talking to Coach about stretching her game to the 3-point, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, so we'll see.
When talking specifically about your game, what have you been focused on this offseason to be in peak form during your final year?
Well, Coach challenged me to go home over the summer and take 10,000 mid-range pull-ups. So I really focused a lot on that, and I'm also focusing on just catching the ball and shooting as rather than just taking the step back a lot.
Coach, you talked a little bit about it earlier, those 7 new additions to your team. Give us a preview of what different dimensions that they provide to your arsenal.
Well, we had success with transfers last year with Q coming in, and we look for those transfers to step up first. So a Kendra Martin, who comes from a Chipola, which is the national championship junior college team. She's very athletic, long. I think she can play multiple positions. We're excited about that. Anias Kurvan, hopefully I said that right, from Australia, but a transfer also. She's got height and size, and we really look for those transfers first to be able to step in and be able to get some minutes early. Out of our freshman class, I think all 4 of them are very, very talented. Bree Kanishka, a kid from Washington, is really kind of separated herself right now. She's just consistent. She works extremely hard. She plays multiple positions also. Is able to run, came in great conditions. So we look for her to kind of be that person that can play in different spots and help us out in multiple ways. Raven Johnson, a kid from Dallas, brings an athleticism and an intensity, especially defensively. I was excited about Candace White, who is out of Modesto Christian. She's going to be a point guard for us. And with losing Raven Fox, it's important that we have a backup with Q. And it looks like Candace is going to be able to do that. She's been working extremely hard. She's got good body size, shoots the 3. And that's always exciting to see because we missed that a little bit last year. And then Zaria Branch from San Diego, which we're excited to get some local California kids. And then to follow it up, we have a transfer out of Minnesota in Tori Jacobs. She transferred from the University of Minnesota but is from Dallas. And so that's been exciting to see her come in and have that year with her. She was a player that was recruited by a lot of Big Ten schools, and she has that. I think she has that next level intensity that we can really rely on.
Now, there's been some rule changes over the summer, most notably the change to the 4-quarter format and being able to advance the ball in the final minute when calling a timeout. How do you feel that those kind of changes will impact the game?
We're not sure yet. We haven't played like that for a long time. You kind of look back at the high school and look at the pros and how those things are happening, what's happening, and what advantages you're getting in those leagues to hope that we get those. Initially, I think there will be a lot of free throw shooting. They're taking out the 1-and-1, and so you'll be shooting 2. We're going to be ready for that as far as just knocking down those free throws. Those can be opportunities to get extra points. I feel like there will be more side out of bounds, maybe more out of bounds with the advancing of the ball, and then also every quarter you'll have that opportunity to have a side out. So a little bit of our focus has been on side out of bounds. The other thing is just how the fouls will play out. If we will have more opportunity to play because the fouls reset every quarter, or if we'll spend a lot of time at the free throw line. In asking some of the officials, they felt like we'd shoot a lot of free throws early, and then later in the season that would kind of clean itself out, and we'd be playing more. So. You never judge early. You just we're excited to play. I'm excited about the backcourt, not the 10-second clock not resetting after a timeout. I think that'll allow us to pressure out and cause some turnovers in that way.
As a player and senior leader, Alex, what's going through your mind when you're adjusting to those kind of changes in late game pressure situations?
Well, I don't really know what to expect, like Coach said, but it's still a game of basketball, and you play as hard as you can until the whistle blows. So,
Last year, you opened as the #1 team in the country in the ratings performance index. This season you built another strong non-conference schedule, home games against Washington, George Washington, a trip out into Pac-12 country in Salt Lake City and taking on Utah. How do you feel those kinds of challenges and the rest of your non-conference schedule prepare you for Mountain West play?
Nothing else will. I think you've got to play against the best to know how you stack up, and also those are the people that we want to be playing in the postseason and want to be beating. And so we've got to have that experience so we can rely back on it when we do get into postseason. Also, the Mountain West has done a good job of putting together a formula for the preseason and helping us to realize how important it is for our RPI, and important for not just us, but every school in the Mountain West to have a higher RPI. And we all know at the end of the day, when they're looking at who beat who and what RPI, I think we were a couple wins away from getting an invite last year. And we want our league to be getting more than just one bid. We want to, or more than just one team in. We want to be getting multiple bids in. So there's been a commitment to do that. I think it's an excitement. It's excitement that we play Washington and George Washington the same weekend. That'd be the weekend I'd come, to spend the week in Fresno and watch us play some of the best teams in the country.
Now, before last season, the team went on a tour of Australia. You have 7 players on this year's team that made that trip, and you've added, as you talked about, Aeneas as a veteran post player. How important is that connection between Australia and the Bulldogs women's basketball program?
Well, we've recruited a lot from there. We have some great players from there. We have another player in Aeneas from there. And so Australia has been great to Fresno State, and it's something that I was familiar with coming in. And so we definitely want to continue that connection with them. Also, being able to go over there and those people being able to see us play, I thought was a big deal. And it also helped in our recruiting, just for those people that have heard about Fresno State to actually see us play. I thought that was nice. As far as that international trip, that's still, it's funny, it warms my heart. It was a great start for us as coaches. And now with 7 new kids, I kind of wish we were going back over there to play those 4 games, because those helped us also. And
in a 4-quarter format.
Yeah.
Alex, you were one of those student athletes on that trip. How did that experience bring the team together?
Well, it put us in a totally different atmosphere, and it forced us to be with each other for 2 weeks, and we didn't have cell phone service, so we spent a lot of time together, and it was just a lot of fun, memories that we'll hold on to for forever.
Coach, you've had some significant upgrades to already top-notch facilities, including a new floor in your north gym, and recently your staff's moved into a brand new office suite just south of the pool. You have new team meetings room, an enhanced locker room, beautiful trophy case. Mm-hmm. How does that help the program going forward?
Well, I think all of the upgrades to our facilities is obviously shows a commitment from our administration. And I think that's the most important thing, is that as we progress and as we recruit, our administration recognizes that we, not necessarily need the facility upgrades, but want to be competitive and want to, show that we are a top team in the Mountain West and in the country in our facilities. We had a recruit come in last week, and they had been to multiple Pac-12, multiple Big 12, and said our facilities are just as good or better. And it allows us as coaches to not just showcase, but also to work efficiently with new offices. I've not put anything up on the wall. I love the newness, and it's big, and we're able to meet with all of our coaches in our offices. We're able to do film. It just allows us to work a lot more efficiently, and in the end, that equals success.
Alex, what are you most excited about the 2015-16 season?
Playing with a whole new team, and I'm happy that I got to be a part of a new team, because if I would have left, it would have been girls that when I leave, I'll be able to follow them. I'll get to watch them.
I'm excited this time of every year. I think it's a matter of, you have a puzzle and you're trying to match the pieces, and you think you know how it works and you don't. Let's just be honest. And so that is a challenge for me to, like, how do we fit all of our pieces together, and knowing that if we can fit them all together and have, you know, the teamwork that we want and the culture that we want, we're going to have a successful year. And so I love that time. I love this time of year because of the unknown.
Fresno State opens up the 2015-16 season with an exhibition game on November 6th versus Cal State East Bay, then travels on the road to UC Riverside to open things up a week later. First home game, November 17th versus Fresno Pacific. For Alex Furr, Coach White, I'm Stephen Trembley. You've been watching the 2015 Mountain West Women's Basketball Preview Show featuring the Fresno State Bulldogs.